Good day, coach and classmates. My name is Charlene B. Untong, and I am the little teacher of Study Hub 8. I'll be introducing our video presentation for today. Before we begin, let me introduce my team members. For today's presentation, we will be discussing the topic 4, which is the learner-centered pedagogy. This topic is important because we will talk about how teachers can focus more on students when teaching. This means letting students take part in activities, make choices, and learn in ways that match their needs and interests. We also learn different methods like blended learning and flexible teaching that help students learn better even if they are in the different situations. Before we dive into the main discussion, here are the learning objectives of our presentations. At the end of the unit, the pre-service teachers can discuss the nature of learner-centered teaching modalities, structures, methods, and strategies that facilitate differentiated teaching to suit learners' gender, needs, strengths, interests, and experience. Second, select appropriate learner-centered teaching modalities, structures, methods, and strategies based on learners' diverse needs, learning styles, and backgrounds. Third, draw appropriate learner-centered teaching modalities and strategies that address the special education needs of the learners in difficult circumstances. So now, let's go back to our discussion. So today, we will be discussing learner-centered pedagogy. So it is a teaching approach that focuses on actively engaging students in their own learning. Before we dive into the details, let me ask you, have you ever felt more excited to learn when the teacher allows you to explore, collaborate, and apply knowledge rather than just listening to lectures? That's exactly what learner-centered pedagogy promotes. For my part of the report, I will be covering two key aspects of this approach. The first one is delivery modalities. The second is structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching. First, let's talk about what is delivery modalities. It refers to a learning delivery modality where learning takes place between the teacher and the learners who are geographically remote from each other during instructions. So, the second one is structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching. So, it is a potent tool to help pre-servers and practicing teachers understand the fundamental pedagogical principles, processes, and practices that are anchored on learner-centeredness and other educational psychologies as they apply to facilitate the delivery of teaching and learning in the current educational milieu. So again, when we talk about delivery modalities, these are the different ways the teacher can deliver lessons. This can be face-to-face classes or blended learning. And second one is the structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching. It also includes the different setups and programs that support this teaching approach. So the first one key aspects, there are different methods or different teaching methods depending on the classroom setup and available resources. Number one is face-to-face learning. Face-to-face learning is an instructional method where course, contents, and learning materials are taught in person to a group of students, and this allows for a live interaction between a learner and instructor. It is the most traditional type of learning instruction, and there is opportunity for active engagement, immediate feedback, and social-emotional developments of the learners. So when we talk about the face-to-face learning, it is the traditional method where students and teachers interact inside the classroom. So let's talk about the second learning. Blended learning. is an approach to learning that combines face-to-face and online learning experiences. Students learn via electronic and online media as well as the traditional face-to-face teaching. So in short, a blended learning combines in-person classes with online learning to make lessons more flexible. So for example, in a blended learning setup, a teacher might assign students to watch an instructional video at home and then discuss it in a class the next day. So there are 4 examples of blended learning. The first one is station rotation blended learning. It is a model that allows students to rotate through stations on a fixed schedules where at least one of the station is an online learning station. So as you can see in the picture, in this model, the students move between different learning stations. One station might be for working on a computer, another for doing group activities, and another for learning with the teacher. This helps students learn in different ways and keeps them active. So another example, one group may work with the teacher, and another uses computers to watch a video or take a quiz, and the last group may do a group activity or worksheet. This method keeps students active and gives them a chance to learn in different ways. The second example of blended learning is remote blended learning or enriched virtual. In this model, the students' focus is on completing online coursework while only meeting with the teacher intermittently or as needed. This approach differs from flipped classroom. So again, when we see remote blended learning or enriched virtual, the students do most of learning online at home but come to school sometimes for face-to-face classes or lessons or support. This is good for learners who need more time or who cannot attend school regularly. So again, the students do most of their lessons online at home. They only come to school sometimes, for example, to ask questions, take a test, or attend short lessons. This is a good for students who need more flexibility or live far from school. The third example of blended learning is the flipped classroom blended learning. It's one where students are introduced to content at home and practice working through at it in school, supported by a teacher and or peers. In this way, traditional roles for each space are flipped. In other words, studying at school and learning at home. Here, students study the lesson at home by watching a video or reading a handout. Then, when they come to school, they do the activities like group work, problem solving, or discussions. This way, the student can learn at their own pace at home and get more help from the teacher during class. And last, mastery-based blended learning. The students rotate between online and face-to-face learning based on the completion of mastery-based learning objectives. Assessment design is crucial in any mastery-based learning experiences. In this one, the students learn at their own speed. So the students move to the next topic only when they understand the current one. If they don't understand it yet, they can review it again. This helps make sure every student really learns the lesson and no one is left behind. So now, let's proceed to the second aspect, which is the structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching. So again, when we say structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching, it includes the different setups and programs that support this teaching approach. These structures help make learning more focused on the student. They allow students to learn in ways that fit their needs, situation, and learning styles. So the first one is formal or the traditional. So the teacher controls the class and gives lectures. The students listen and follow instructions. And last, focuses more on teacher-centered learning. So here, this is the usual classroom setting where the teacher controls the class. The teacher gives lectures, asks questions, and give tests. so the students usually listen and follow instructions. It focuses more on the teacher and the students have less freedom to explore or ask questions. So now let's proceed to the next. So the second one is alternative learning system, or we call ALS. It is for students who can attend regular school. Learning happens anytime, anywhere. And last, it's good for adults or out-of-school youth. So the ALS is a flexible program for those who cannot attend regular school, like adults or out-of-school youth. It allows them to study at their own pace, in their own time and place. ALS help learners complete basic education through other ways outside the classroom. For example, let's create a scenario where Maria's learning journey through the ALS. So, Maria is a 22-year-old mother who stopped going to high school due to financial problems. She wants to continue learning and get her high school diploma through the Alternative Learning System, or ALS. So let's proceed the three main components of the ALS. Number one is non-formal education, or NFE. The education outside the formal school system. It includes adult education, community-based learning, and skills training. So here in NFE, learning outside of schools like skills training, adult education. It helps people continue learning throughout life. So it is a part of lifelong learning and helps learners continue their education and grow their knowledge and skills. So for example, in NFE, Maria attends ALS sessions every Saturday at the barangay hall. A teacher helps her review subjects like math, English, and Filipino. This setup is flexible and fits her schedule as a working mom. So why it is a NFE? So this is a non-formal education because it happens outside the regular school but still follows a structured program. So let's proceed to the second component of the ALS, which is the informal education, or INFED. Learning that happens through everyday experiences like watching, doing, or observing things in life. So this is the learning that happens in daily life. It's not planned or done in a classroom. For example, learning not to touch a hot pot is a form of informal education. It comes from experiences and observation. So another instances, at home, Maria teaches her child how to count numbers and read simple words. She also learns how to cook by watching her mother and gains budgeting skills by managing her family daily expenses. So this is informal education because she is learning from daily life experiences without a formal teacher or classroom. And the last component is mobile teachers, special teachers who travel to far or remote places to teach out-of-school youth and adults who cannot go to regular school. So when we say mobile teachers, these are the teachers who travel to far or remote areas to teach students who cannot go to school. They help teach reading, writing, and basic skills to children and adults. They are called mobile because they move from one place to another. So for example, there are times when Maria cannot go to the barangay center, so a mobile teacher visits her home once a week. The teachers bring learning materials and gives her one-on-one lessons to keep her on track. So this is the mobile teacher component where the teacher goes to far or hard-to-reach learners to ensure they continue learning. So this is the end of my discussion. So this covers all my assigned topics. Mr. Prieto will continue with the third part under the ALS. Thank you for listening.
Good day everyone, especially to Coach Jude. I'm Nasalito A. Prieto from Study Hub 8, number 2. Before we proceed to our new lesson, we have small conclusion about the delivery modalities. Different way of teaching helps students learn in the best way possible. Face-to-face learning allows direct interaction. Blended learning mix traditional and online methods. Online learning makes education more accessible, and distance learning helps students who are far away. Each method has its own benefits, and choosing the right one depends on the needs of the student and available resource. As education changes, this learning method will continue to help make learning easier and more effective for everyone. Now we proceed to our new lesson. Now these are the topic that we discussed: the alternative delivery modes or ADM, modify in-school, off-school approach or MIMOSA, enhance instructional management by parents, community, and teachers or EPAC, open high school program or OHSP, inquiry and inductive learning activities, cooperative learning, presentation, panel or expert, and KWL. Now we discuss about the modify in-school, off-school approach or MIMOSA is an alternative delivery mode or ADM used in the Philippines, specifically in the school with congested classes. It's involved dividing classes into two groups, an in-school group with regular teachers and an off-school group led or volunteer teacher. The off-school group work through self-instruction materials, often in the community settings, and the teacher facilitator monitor their progress. Now they have an aspect of MIMOSA. The first one is the addresses congestion. MIMOSA is the primary design to address overcrowding in classroom, allowing more students to access education when regular classes are full. Second, flexibility. It's often a more flexible learning arrangement as the off-school group can learn an alternative location and a time that may be more suitable from them. Third, modular learning. The off-school group utilize modular instruction materials, allowing them to progress at their own pace. Fourth, in-school and off-school group. The core of the MIMOSA in the division of students in the two groups, each with specific role and approach. Fifth, the community involvement. The off-school group often meets in community settings, involving community members in the learning process. Now we proceed to the second topic, the EPAC, Enhanced Instructional Management by Parents, Community, and Teacher, is an alternative delivery mode or ADM. What the aim? To improve educational in area where traditional schooling face challenges like limited access and quality. The teacher are tasked with the multi-grade classes with the program use a technology-enhanced approach leveraging modules and mastery tests to access student progress. It's also encourage active participation from parents, community members, and even few learners in the support student learning. Here a more detailed look at EPAC, the key figures and goals. First, the modular approach. Students learn through self-instructional materials or modules that cover the specific subject matter. Second, technology integration. EPAC incorporates technology to deliver instructional and manage learning. Third, flexibility and accessibility. The program allows students to enter and exit the learning process based on their needs, making it suitable for students with prolonged of seasonal absence. Fourth, community engagement. Parents, community member, and even other students play a role in supporting the learning process, create a more holistic and inclusive environment. Now we discuss the benefits of EPAC. First, the improved accessibility. EPAC make education accessible to learn who may not be able to attend regular class due to various reasons. Second, enhanced quality. The use of modules and mastery tests help ensure a consistent level of instruction and enable teacher to track and address individual learning needs. Third, stronger community environment. Parents and community members are actively involved in the learning process, fostering a sense of shared responsibility for education. Fourth, flexibility for learners. The student can enter and exit the program as needed, allowing for more personalized learning pathway. Now we proceed to the third topic. The Open High School Program, OHSP, is the Philippines is a distance learning program offering secondary education to individuals who cannot attend regular school due to various reasons. According to the Department of Education, DepEd, it's designed to flexible, self-paced, and independent, allowing students to complete their high school education at their own pace. With a 6 years time frame, the program aims to provide educational access to those who might otherwise drop out or not may be able to start secondary education, as started at DepEd Order 46/2006. Now we discuss the key aspect of OHSP. First, the distance learning. The primary method of the instruction is through distance learning, using self-study modules and other materials, as noted in the Open High School Program. Second, the flexibility and self-pacing. Students can learn at their own pace, allowing them to manage their studies around their individual circumstance. Third, alternative to traditional school. OHSP provides an alternative pathway from completing high school, especially for those with specific physical impairment, work obligation, or other constraints. Fourth, accessibility. The program is available nationwide and it's not tied to the regular school year calendar. Fifth, formal and structured. Despite being a distance learning program, OHSP maintains a structured curriculum with 8 core subjects and allow the same grading system as a regular school, according to Peña Integrate Christian Academy. Now we proceed to the fourth topic, the cooperative learning activities. It involves students working in a small group to achieve a common learning goals with the understanding that each member's success contribute to the group's success. This activity promotes collaboration, communication, and a shared understanding of the materials. Now we proceed to the fifth topic, the inquiry and inductive learning activities. Encouraging students to actively investigate, explore, and discover concepts and principles through observation, reasoning, and experimentation. They involve a move for specific example and experience to broader generation and understanding. Example of these individual include experiment, case studies, classroom discussion, and project-based learning, where students are guided to ask questions, collect evidence, and draw conclusions. Now with this, we proceed to sixth topic, the cooperative learning is an instructional approach where students work in a small group to achieve the common goals, fostering both individual and group accountability. It emphasizes the positive independence, where each member's success depends on the success of the group. Now we discuss the seventh topic, the presentation. Presentation is a normal delivery of information, ideas, or product to an audience, often through a speech, demonstration, or lecture. It can serve various purposes, including informing, persuading, motivating, inspiring, or building goodwill. Presentation can be delivered in a person or virtually, or may utilize visual aids like slides, video, or image to enhance the communication. 8. Expert or panel is a group of individuals with specialized knowledge and expert in a particular field who are convened to provide advice, guidance, or recommendation on a specific issue. These panels are often used when normal evaluation or decision-making process require the input of diverse perspective and informed opinion. 9. KWL chart is a graphic organized use and education to help students track their learning process by recording when they know, what to know, and learn about the topic. It's a tool for pre-reading, reading, and post-reading reflection, facilitating active learning and comprehension. Here's more detailed explanation. K to know, students list what they already know about the topic before engaging with a lesson or reading material. W, what to know. They list what they want to learn or have questions about the topic. L, to learn. After the lesson or reading, students record what they have learned in relation to their initial questions and prior knowledge.
Good day everyone! So I am Casey Lane D. Ostero and now I'll continue to discuss the topic. So before that, let's briefly recap the various learner-centered instructional strategies we've explored. So we've covered a range of approaches designed to actively engage students in their learning process. So here are the key strategies. First is the cooperative learning. Students work in diverse teams, supporting each other's learning and fostering a collaboration environment. Second is presentations. So students present information, enhancing their understanding and public speaking skills. So this allows for deeper engagement with the material. Third is the panels. Students participate in a structured discussion, acting as panelists and audience members. So this fostering critical thinking and communication. KWL or KWHLAQ, a structured reading strategy using a chart to organize what students know, what to know, and learn, activating prior knowledge and tracking progress. So the next is the brainstorming, a free-flowing idea generation activity encouraging creativity and diverse perspectives. Next is the learner-created media. So, students create media like videos, podcasts, and etc. So, deeply engaging with the material and developing valuable skills. Next is the discussion. So, open-ended exchanges of ideas, promoting critical thinking and diverse perspectives. So, we noted both the advantages, which are the active learning, addressing students' needs, diverse perspectives, and the disadvantages, like time-consuming, potential for unfocus. And the last is small group work. So, students collaborate on tasks, fostering problem solving and peer learning. So, this is often used in conjunction with other strategies. So, in summary, these strategies emphasize students' participation, collaboration, and active learning. So, they move away from passive listening and towards active engagement, making learning more meaningful and effective. So remember, the best strategy often depends on the specific learning objective and the student's needs. So, the another strategies is the case studies. So, analyzing real-life situations to illustrate principles or problem solving. So, case studies use in real-life examples to teach problem solving and illustrates key principles. So, imagine presenting a real-world business challenge and having students analyze it to understand marketing strategies. So, the key features are real-world application, sequential learning, and gradual student-led direction. Next is the jigsaw, cooperative learning, where students become experts on a part of a topic and teach their peers. So, jigsaw is all about teamwork and specialized learning. So, students become experts on a piece of a larger topic and teach this to their peers. So, think of it like a puzzle. Each student is a piece and together they complete the picture. For example, the groups could specialize in different aspects of a historical events and then they share their knowledge with the class. So, here are the key features of the jigsaw: teamwork, specialization, and peer teaching. Learning centers, rotating group activities reinforcing classroom learning. So, learning centers offers interactive, exploratory activities and reinforce classroom learning. It's like setting up different stations, each focusing on a different aspects of the same concept. For example, in the science lesson, you might have stations for experiments, reading, and games. So all related to the central theme. This caters to diverse learning styles. So here are the key features of learning centers. First, in the interactive, exploratory, caters to diverse learning styles. Experiments, testing hypotheses through controlled procedures. Experiments are all about testing hypotheses through controlled procedures. Students learn about cause and effects, relationships, the importance of repeatable procedures, and how to analyze data. So, for example, a science experiment to test the effects of different fertilizers on plant growth. So, here are the key features of experiments. First is the cause and effects. Second is the repeatable procedures. And third is the data analysis. Next is the role play. Acting out realistic situations to develop experience and communication skills. So, role play allows students to experience real-life situations and practice communication skills in a safe environment. So, it's a highly interactive and experiential method. For example, simulating a customer service interaction helps students practice conflict resolution and empathy. So here are the key features of the role play. First is the interactive, experiential, develops communications and empathy. Simulations, creating a controlled environment for students to interact and learn. So, simulations create controlled environments where students interact and learn. Their experiential allow for controlled parameters and promote critical thinking. A simulated business environment, for example, allows students to practice decision making in a risk-free setting. So, here are the key features of simulations. First is experiential. Second is controlled parameters. And lastly, promotes critical thinking. Laboratory strategies. Hands-on science learning in a lab setting. So, laboratory strategies provides hands-on science learning. Students solve problems, apply concepts, and develop valuable skills in a practical setting. For example, conducting experiments to understand the chemical reactions. So, here are the key features of laboratory strategies. First is the problem solving. Second is the concept application. And lastly, the skills development. Next is the workshop. Students-led learning emphasizing creativity and responsibility. So, workshops emphasize students-led learning, fostering creativity and responsibility. Students take ownership of their learning, actively engaging in their work and developing a deeper understanding. For example, students designing a building on a project based on their interest. So, here are the key features of the workshop. First is the active learning, students' ownership, and skill development. Demonstration. Teaching through visual aids and step-by-step processes. Demonstrations use visual aids and step-by-step processes to clearly communicate ideas. They emphasize visual learning, provide clear instructions, and ensure replicable results. For example, you're demonstrating how to perform a specific scientific procedure. So, here are the key features of demonstration. First is visual learning. Second is clear instructions. And last is replicable results. Inquiry-based strategy. Student-led exploration and investigation of open questions. Inquiry-based learning is all about student-led exploration. So, students investigate open-minded questions, develop evidence-based reasoning, and hone their critical thinking skills. For example, students investigating a local environmental issue. So here are the key features of inquiry-based strategy. First is student-driven, evidence-based reasoning, and critical thinking. Mental models, visual representations aiding comprehension and problem solving. Mental models use visual representations to aid comprehension and problem solving. They provide visual aids, promote structured thinking, and lead to improved understanding. For example, using a diagram to explain a complex scientific process. So, here are the key features of mental models: visual aids, structured thinking, and improved understanding. Project-based and problem-based learning. Project-based extended investigation of real-world problems. Problem-based using real-world problems to teach concepts. Shared real-world application, deeper understanding, skills development. So, project-based learning involves extended investigations of real-world problems, while problem-based learning uses real-world problems to teach concepts. So, both emphasize real-world applications, deeper understanding, and skill development. Discovery learning. Learner-driven exploration to discover facts and truths. Discovery learning encourages learner-driven exploration to uncover facts and truths. So, it promotes active learning, utilizes prior knowledge, and fosters creativity. For example, students experimenting to discover scientific principles. So here are the key features of discovery learning. The active learning, past knowledge application, and creativity. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
So before I'll proceed to my topic, let me first give some conclusion of Cassis Ostero's topic. So her topic is all about the methods emphasize student engagement and participation, moving beyond passive learning techniques like lectures. They cater to different learning styles and provide opportunities for hands-on experience, collaboration, and problem solving. The range of methods such as a focus on diverse pedagogical approaches to enhance learning outcomes. So now let's proceed to my topic. So first is the Q&A session. Q&A session, a period of time dedicated to asking and answering questions, typically in a structured format. This can be a formal presentation followed by a Q&A, an informal discussion, or an online forum. So, Q&A sessions are valuable tools for clarifying information, addressing concerns, and fostering interactive learning. They allow for direct communication between a speaker or expert and their audience. It promotes understanding and knowledge sharing. Effective Q&A sessions require clear communication from both the questioner and the respondent. So next is social media. So social media is an interactive computer-mediated technologies that facilitate the creation and sharing of information, ideas, career interests, and other forms of expressions via virtual communities and networks. So social media is platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok enable users to connect with others, share content, and build online communities. Social media helps students in online class. They have revolutionized communication and information dissemination, but also present challenges regarding privacy and misinformation and online safety. So next is games or gamification. So the application of game mechanics and game design techniques in non-game contexts to improve users' engagement, motivation, and learning. So, when we say the gamification uses elements like points, badge, leaderboards, and challenges to make activities more enjoyable and rewarding. This approach is used in education, marketing, and various other fields to encourage participation and boost productivity. So next is competitions. So competitions, events, or activities where individuals or teams compete against each other to achieve a goal or demonstrate skills. So in competitions are designed to assess abilities, foster healthy rivalry, and provide motivation. They can be formal events with rules and prizes, or informal activities among friends or colleagues. So next topic is debate. So debate is a formal discussion on a particular topic in a structured manner, usually involving two opposing sides presenting arguments and refuting each other's points. So when we say debates are a valuable tool for developing critical thinking skills, exploring different perspectives, and improving communication. They require careful research, logical reasoning, and persuasive speaking. Next is flexible learning and teaching. So in flexible learning and teaching, educational approaches that adapt to the diverse needs and learning style of students, often involving a mix of teaching methods, technologies, and learning. So when we say flexible learning allows students to learn at their own pace and in ways that best suit their individual needs. It often involves blended learning, combining online and in-person instructions, sometimes a personalized learning and self-directed learning. So next is differentiated teaching. So a teaching approach that provides different avenues of learning to meet individual student needs. It also acknowledges the students learn in diverse ways. So, differentiated teaching requires teachers to plan and deliver instructions that caters to students, varied learning styles, readiness levels, and interests. This may involve offering different activities, assessments, and levels of support. Next is education in emergencies. So, educational initiatives designed to ensure learning continuity during emergencies or crises, such as natural disasters or pandemics. So, education in emergencies prioritizes the provision of safe and effective learning opportunities for children and adults affected by crisis. This often involves adapting existing educational programs and utilizing innovative approaches to reach students in challenging circumstances. So next is foundational standards. So foundational standards is a basic principles or benchmarks that define the minimum acceptable level of knowledge and skills in a particular subject area. So, foundational standards serve as a guide for curriculum development, teaching practice, and students' assessment. They ensure consistency and quality in education, aiming to prepare students with essential knowledge and skills. So next is the teaching and learning domain. So the teaching and learning domain, the field of study and practice that focuses on the processes and principles of teaching and learning. So this domain covers the theoretical and practical aspects of how students learn and how teachers can effectively facilitate the learning process. It encompasses various fields such as curriculum, design, instructional strategies, assessment, and teacher training. So in curricula, the the collection of courses, subjects, and activities offered by an educational institution. A, a curriculum outlines the learning objectives, content, and assessment methods for a particular program or course of study. It provides a structured pathway for student learning. So next is training, professional development, and support. So activities and resources designed to enhance the skills, knowledge, and effectiveness of teachers and other educational professionals. So this includes professional development workshops, mentoring programs, access to resources, and ongoing support to help educators improve their teaching practices. So next is instruction and learning processes. So the methods and strategies employed by teachers to deliver instruction and facilitate student learning. This refers to the actual teaching and learning activities in the classroom or learning environment. It encompasses various teaching methods, learning activities, and assessment techniques. So next is assessment of learning outcomes. The process of evaluating students' learning and progress towards achieving educational goals. So assessment involves using various methods such as tests, projects, and observations to determine what students have learned and how well they have met the learning objectives. It provides feedback for both students and teachers, informing instructional decisions. So in overall conclusion of our topic, is that effective teaching necessitates a multifaceted approach, adapting to diverse learner needs and contexts. The guide emphasizes the importance of selecting appropriate delivery modalities such as face-to-face, blended, online, or distance learning, structuring learning experiences to be learner-centered, formal, informal, alternative systems, and employing a variety of teaching methods, cooperative learning, inquiry-based learning, project-based learning, and gamification. To cater to different learning styles and backgrounds, the ultimate goal is to create a differentiated and engaging learning